We get on Facebook.
Look surprised, everybody.
I am surprised. I'm surprised we're here.
I'm surprised it's all working.
Well, we'll see how that goes eventually.
Well, the night's still young.
But we are not.
We got
Hey, by the way, this Friday is the Knight Rider convention in Atlanta. I think I saw it somewhere at Dragon Con last year, and I went, "Oh, that's interesting." And Southern Knights Atlanta. Yeah, and they have everybody brings their kit or car or whatever model.
or their kit car.
Kit car.
And their Kit Kats and their,
And the TikToks and the Tic Tacs.
Although, it's funny. It says, July 19th, but their last update, complete guest list, was from February 9th. There's been no other posts.
Well, there are not a lot of people to draw from on Knight Rider, although there was the reboot as well, right?
There's been several, actually. There was what was the one that had like a Team Knight Rider?
Welcome to,
and then
the topic is Knight Rider.
And there was a couple of TV type movies. Oh, I recognize this guy, AJ Pomegran. He was I've seen his videos on Facebook. On YouTube. He actually owns one of the screen models, I think. Anyway, pretty cool.
And he just keeps William Daniels in the trunk, just to.
Yeah. Kit's not talking. Poke the back seat a little bit.
All righty.
Sorry, I had to get my ships together.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, be that as it may, and it may be that way. I think it's about time to
hit the record button.
Yeah, let's do this thing.
Okay, ready?
This is The Topic is Trek, episode 163 for Friday, July 19th, 2024. Coming up in this episode, a battle to the death. The battle for Paramount Mountain? No, it's not over. Not by a long shot. San Diego Comic-Con is almost here. All that and more right now on The Topic is Trek. Time and relative dimensions in Star Trek. Welcome to The Topic is Trek, the podcast that runs on impulse power. Join us for a journey where no show has gone before. If it has to do with Star Trek, there's a good chance we'll talk about it sooner or later, because on this show, the topic is Trek. Engage already. Well, hello. Welcome, everyone, to another thrill-packed edition of The Topic is Trek. I am one of your co-hosts, Clinton. And as you know, I always do point out that in order to be a co-host, there must be other hosts. Not ghost hosts, real live hosts. And in order to have those hosts, they beam in to join me. And so first, beaming in from parts unknown with the hip new catchphrase that I'm sure you have a pad and a paper ready to write down. Here it is, Mr. Craig Step.
Paper?
All that timey-wimey stuff.
Well, it's very appropriate. It works this week, but I'm not sure next week it will.
Well, I made it up on the spot.
Oh, okay. Long Z to you too. But also beaming in to join us is Mr. Chuck Tomasi.
Bow ties are cool.
Man, I gotta get a fez. I really do.
I've got plenty of bow ties.
Yeah, no fezzes.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a theme for a couple of things we're talking about this evening. This Doctor Who and Star Trek connection. So that's why we went with the the episode title that we did because I'm sure people realize that the TARDIS is the time and relative dimensions in space.
Mm-hmm.
I just added an extra T there for Trek.
TARDIS.
Yes.
The past tense of TARDIS.
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 No, that's someone who studies TARDISes.
Oh,
Tardii?
I'm a TARDISist.
the topic is, I don't even know what the topic is anymore.
TARDISology.
Hey, Chuck, what were some of those weird names that we come across every once in a while when we're doing the history on our own show?
You mean like cosmologist?
Not just cosmologist, but like somethingologist. Has a ist at the end of it. It's like, what? Something you never really heard about. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
All righty. Well, we are going to start off with part 1 of our discussion about Prodigy. We're going to be discussing episodes 3 and 4. So naturally, if you have not seen them yet, spoiler alert, right up front on that. But let's head out on main mission part 1 with an appropriate sound effect.
Sure thing, friend. I love subspace chatter.
Oh, we're not on
no.
Subspace Chatter yet.
No, Charlie. So anxious to get going.
Yeah, that's an excited Charlie.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chuck, why don't you give us some background on this first episode we're going to be discussing?
The first episode is season 2, episode 3, called Who Saves the Saviors, written by Aaron McNamara and directed by Sung Shin. The short plot synopsis is that traveling through the time rift, Dal and the crew search for Chakotay on Solum. With the support of her father, Gwyn challenges Essentia.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
All right. Well, right off the bat, what did you guys think of the episode? Craig, what did you overall think of Who Saves the Saviors?
I thought overall I liked it. For the most part, it starts to get into that confusing time rift stuff. I know Dr. Aaron shows up to kind of give us a.
No, she's on the next episode.
I know, but she gives us a once over. But I'm just saying
Keep in mind.
that it starts to get a little confusing if you're not, especially if you're not familiar with how time travel works and
Right, because we were
sci-fi science fiction
establishing that you have to. They've gone to the future from where the Voyager A is,
Mhm.
and that they see things there and they have to react to those in order to have things happen in the past to save the past and the future. And yeah, it gets really
Well, also one of the things I thought was weird that they had to point out was that even in this time rift, if you're in the future, it's like 50 years in the future, time is synchronized with ours. I was like, yeah, it's like time is still beating. I just thought it was weird that they had to point that out.
I think that they were trying to make the point that even though they traveled all those decades forward, that
An
if
hour
it's
is
supposed to
still an
be
hour.
3 hours, it's supposed to be 3 hours.
So that when you come back, you'll still be in sync.
Right.
It's not like traveling near a
Backstreet
black
Boys.
hole.
Yeah.
No, I just thought
Yeah.
I just thought it was odd at first. I was like, well, yeah, time would still be clicking away, but yeah, you're right. I understand.
Well,
Couple-
the time could be running at 78 and we're at, 33 and a
33 and a
third or something.
Nice. Oh, that's old time for you.
It is. Kids,
The,
go ask your grandparents.
I liked this because these couple of episodes, actually most of these episodes are, like you said, they're explaining the basics of temporal mechanics because, this was originally supposed to be a kid's show. But hey, there's a lot of adults that are still scratching their head going, it's a what now? How's this all work? So they're getting back to the roots of explain as you go, but not in a oversimplified way. That
Right.
sounds crazy.
Mhm.
But I do think they're playing the temporal mechanics 101 joke a little often.
Right. Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I we finally get a resolution on that because that couldn't be a season long joke.
Doll
it
Doll
was
pulls up a
getting old
YouTube
by-
video and understands it. So
Yeah.
It was getting old by the next episode. Actually, I think it was getting old by episode 3.
as time went on, it got old.
Yeah.
But
But in sync with that current time. So that
same
was
kind of
important.
thing for The bird jokes were getting a little old, but although Chakotay towards the end said, "You got to admit that one was pretty good."
Yeah.
Although I don't think a Dreek has to admit any of that.
Yeah.
And we were speculating on it the last episode. It turns out that he is indeed that same species that we see in the animated series.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So he did not have the big wings, or he had them clipped
Or,
tucked in.
different subspecies of it, but he
The
wasn't
flightless version, like the
he
kiwi.
was an Aurelian, just like in that episode.
Okay.
hmm No, I thought this is a pretty good episode overall because they got the time loop kind of thing going on, the temporal anomaly or whatever, however you want to look at it going on, but they managed to feel like they were still building on the stakes, of whatever. It wasn't like being silly about what was going on, and then you get, anyway. So there you go. That's where I was thinking.
And to your point about them kind of restating about what they have to do and when they can do it and when they can't do it, obviously plays into the ending. And I think by reminding people that these things have to happen in this particular way,
Yeah.
you realize what's going on at the very end of the
Right.
episode.
Yeah.
But they were clear enough to show the complication in the plot when Dal was causing his distraction, gets the disruptor blown out of his hand, and then that's available later for Chakotay to pick up. He goes, "That wasn't there last time. Who left the?" Oh,
Ooh.
It was me. Yeah.
Whoopsie.
Yeah.
No big deal, right? Right? Mm.
Let me see. Commander Astique, bite it or get his.
Well, so
Kick the bucket, whatever.
he was injured, but when Chakotay got him on board the ship, he was well enough. So I think he had just gotten grazed, and he was going to be okay because he seemed to be not. I think Chakotay was piloting, but he seemed to be alert enough to know what was going on.
Right.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Now, how did you feel about I don't think it was as big a coincidence that they got put into the same cell as Chakotay and Adreek, because they probably don't have many outsiders. Because
most of the town was blown away. So, I mean, how big of a jail do you need?
Yeah, can't you divide it in half or something? I don't know, but no, I think it was a little convenient, but yeah, it made sense.
Yeah,
it wasn't a prison or anything that was built to incarcerate people. So it makes sense that there was really one cell, or
I did have to laugh though, because it's a classic bit that we have in there. You got to do it because you got to get them out. But Chakotay knows a control panel that, I don't know, can he actually even see that control panel? That he knows that button, when you press it, lets down the force field.
Yeah.
Jankum knows his way around an alien control panel. Why not?
Yeah. I'm surprised they weren't like trying to throw shoes over it because it looked like it was open on the top.
When his hand was running around by itself, it looked an awful lot like Thing from the Addams Family.
It did. That's exactly what I thought.
And then it somehow remained suspended long enough to wave bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a cartoon, like Bugs Bunny, something.
I liked the detail when Jankum was holding that beat up old iPad. It was cracked, and it was
it wasn't an iPad, it was a pad.
Condition.
Pad, not an iPad.
We were first.
I don't know. It came from the past. It might be an iPad.
It could be. Yep.
Yeah, it was all kind of the glass, whatever, the transparent aluminum on it was cracked and just kind of, and yeah, you can't use the pad to bring down the force field, and Jenkins just says, I disagree.
Politely disagree. Yeah. Jankum Pug politely disagrees.
And then we have what was going on with Gwyn, and it was rough for her. Now, is a trope, but it's not a trope of Star Trek. It's a trope of pretty much any story. When they get to the place where they're going to have their combat, of course, you have to have this elaborate giant disc with
Yeah.
some mechanism that slowly lowers them down into this pit. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
either the platform lowers or the platform raises, a la, Kirk and McCoy in the Klingon court.
it's like, who built that and why? Just to say, here's the ladder, go down there. You know?
Actually,
Yeah.
I was thinking of Temple of Doom, where the guy's in
Yeah.
a cage and going down towards the lava.
Yep.
Not quite the same as this, but that reminded me of that a little bit.
We were just missing a whole bunch of people chanting, dog, 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 dog. Yeah. That would have been a classic trope.
Yeah.
So this battle that they're doing is interesting because they don't bring their weapons in with them to this thing. It's kind of also interesting that they had something made of the same material that made a holder, like an umbrella holder
Yeah.
for them to put their
Yeah.
their heirloom in.
Yeah.
Please deposit your heirloom because you're
Yeah,
going to
but
get another one at the bottom of the hole.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so I don't know what the purpose of getting rid of them when you were just going to make more like in 3 minutes anyway.
I was
Was.
kind of laughing the second time I watched it because a little earlier I was watching the episode of Futurama where they went into Nibbler's litter box and you had the Beatles. It was a play on Dune. It's
Right.
pronounced Doong. Chris McNeil does that lead bug lady, and I swear she was also the lead like priestess on Solum, and I was kind of laughing because it was almost comical the way she was saying things with such loftiness and authority, and you will go into the hole and find the one who seeks that all, like just completely ludicrous if you watch it with that in
Right.
mind.
Well,
That's
I think I mentioned this last time, but what I heard when she spoke was, and I went and checked and I said, yep, that's who that is. In Disneyland, between Halloween and Christmas, they do an overlay of the Haunted Mansion called Haunted Mansion Holiday, which is all Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
And Madame Leota is revoiced to do stuff around that.
Okay.
And she does the voice of Madame Leota in the seance
Oh,
for the
really?
overlay.
Good
I
on you
I
for
recognize
catching that.
voice.
Very nice.
Oh, we're going there in October, but it won't be
And
Halloween.
I recognized nothing.
John
So
Noble.
You guys get a point.
Yeah, John Noble doing his young person voice, which we had our discussion about it, saying that was. I asked Bonnie about it. She said she kind of liked it, the voice he was doing to be
Oh, cool. All right.
younger self.
I'm here now, and
That's
I'm
right.
putting you first.
Yeah, he does sound a
Kinder,
little different. Doesn't
gentler.
The kinder, gentler diviner.
he? It's funny how different those two personalities of him are. Because
Yeah, what happened to him?
it didn't just sound different, but he's all kind and nice and everything. And I'm like, actually, he's all right. And, how is he? Yeah, what happened? Did he fall into the vat of chemicals with the Joker or something? I don't know. Make him evil.
Well,
don't know.
I'm wondering if we're gonna find out something about that, because yeah, you're right that he turns really 180.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
see some of that in the next episode. That we'll
Even towards Gwen, when he's in that 180 state, I wouldn't say he was loving or kind to her at all. He was hard on her.
Absolutely. I mean, she didn't understand what he was doing, and she didn't have any love for him because he didn't give any, as far as she could tell. So
Yeah. So
I
this is
thought it was. What happens to me? Do I turn into some kind of monster? Spoiler alert!
Hey Doc, in the future, are we? No, I'm not
No,
gonna
no,
do
wait! Don't tell me, Gwen. Don't tell me anything about the future. Just take this note. What is this note? Anyway,
Yeah. Right.
well, we have a problem that arises at the end of the episode, because things seem to be going well up to a certain point in the episode, because Gwyn seems to have the upper hand in getting out of the pit first, and they've gotten Chakotay and Adrik out of the prison, and they're headed to the Protostar, and all that's seems to be working out. And matter of fact, they're all patting themselves on the back about, oh, look, this is so wonderful. We're we're going to be
We were able
heroes
to
and
help.
blah,
It was
blah,
us all along.
blah. Yeah, we can just save them as soon as the Protostar leaves, and then the Protostar leaves with them on it. And Gwyn starts doing a Back to the Future. Speaking of which, starting to phase out.
Now, they made a couple of mentions in here, a couple of throwback mentions. One was to the first warp drive test. And also, because they said, it's interesting that we are the cause of this series of events, like the first warp drive test. And I had it a second ago. What was the other mention they gave?
Right. Yes.
Excuse
I
me.
know what you're thinking of, and I didn't have that written down, but yes,
It
they
was
do.
right
They, have,
there. I'll get it in a
they
second.
give two examples,
Yeah.
neither of which involves TOS, but I thought it was interesting that they went for later examples
Yep.
of it. Yeah, there's slight callbacks here and there on this one, and of course we have as a Protostar leaves, suddenly the tachyons
Start
going
spiking.
wacky,
Yep.
'cause you got to have that, somebody.
And then
needs
we
to
get a
reverse
message from
that.
Voyager. What's happening over there? We messed up.
Yeah, funny story.
Right.
Chakotay is gone. Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on? And did you notice that the episode title was
Who
kind of a
saves the
riff?
Saviors? Is that like who
Yeah,
watches
who
the
saves the
Watchers?
saviors and who watches the watchers?
Right.
So that was interesting as well. Not the same plot going on, but still things of meeting two cultures meeting and so forth and so
Oh,
on.
it was the Gabriel Bell episode.
Oh, right, the Bell Riots.
The
Right.
Bell Riots.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So I did think that was good to like not go back to the whales or something like that and do something else. All right, so I think we need to rate who saves the saviors. I was about to say who watches the watchers. I got that in my mind. So let's start with Chuck.
Wait, what's our rating scale?
Ooh. Let's see. We got
Artifacts or heirlooms?
Heirlooms.
Heirlooms. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
A lot of forethought in that.
Yeah.
We make them up as we go along.
That's Indiana Jones. I'm going to give this one an 8. I liked it. It kept moving along. I liked the storyline. There were a couple spots where I went, yeah, the temporal mechanics joke is getting a little long in the tooth here,
Right.
as were the bird jokes. So that kind of dragged it down a little bit for me.
Yeah.
But I thought it was still pretty solid. I like the callback references to the 2 episodes we mentioned. There's another one in the next episode that I am struggling to recall, but we'll get there when we get there. But I thought overall solid 8 on this one.
Okay. I'm going to go. I'm going to go 8 on this as well. I'm kind of torn, but I think I'm going to go 8 on it because it did move slow in parts, but you knew something had to go wrong. And I thought it was an interesting way that things went wrong.
Right. I mean, yes.
That, Dal just straight up messed up. He just completely, didn't, and I didn't see it coming when the rifle went sliding off, even though they made a point of making sure they held on that a second when it happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't overtly like, this is how Dal's going to screw things up again.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice subtle, hey, this thing that happened. Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
And, like some things we just kind of like, I didn't understand why you had to have a giant disc. Just give them a ladder down and pull the ladder up and you're done with that. All right. And how about you, Craig?
I think I liked it just slightly more than you guys. I'm gonna say I'll go with 8.25. I won't go much more than that, but I liked it. The pacing was good. I did notice the rifle went flying off. I went, oh, that's gonna come back, and because they were so adamant about make sure you do these things in this order and this, at the right time. So no, I thought it was good. The bird jokes, I was like, oh, okay, that's getting a little old, little racist for Star Trek, picking on a race. I don't know, but although I enjoyed the episode, I thought it was really good.
Maybe it was a callback to Short Treks where they have like there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Oh no, but let's not go there again. Let's not
What?
go there again.
What? What
Like
did
a
you
bigger
say?
fish to fry. Hey,
Yeah. Okay, that was hilarious. I'm sorry. Timing on that was perfect.
with the butt cheeks face. Sorry, we do great rapidly.
At least the topic was Trek in that case. All right,
Yeah.
now come the part of the show where I get to find out how things are going, because we're going to do Subspace Chatter. And in order for us to do Subspace Chatter, I have to get permission. I think we're in luck this time around based on what I was hearing earlier, but let's find out. I asked Charlie, is
Give us
it okay
permission
to do
again.
Subspace Chatter?
He's been drinking again.
Sure thing, friend. I love subspace chatter. Let's get going.
Let's get sober, Charlie, back.
Get a razor.
I'm
I
sorry, it was
think-
very short tracks.
I
messed
think he
up.
needs to, like, I don't know, do some work on that goatee a little bit, though.
He's a
He's
shade.
supposed to be 16. What do you expect?
I
Yeah.
know.
Didn't you ever like have a fake mustache when you were a kid?
No, Clinton was born
Yeah,
with
but
that
it looked
goatee.
like something. I don't know.
Clinton was born with that goatee.
Indeed.
Pretty frightening, isn't
Evil.
it?
All right, Craig, why don't you kick things off now that Charlie's given us the okay to go ahead?
All right, now that we're safe. In the days after July 1st, launch of the second season of Star Trek Prodigy, the animated series hit Netflix's top 10 kids show chart in the UK and several other countries around the world. According to the tracking site Flix Patrol, I haven't seen them before. Prodigy showed up in the Flix Patrol. Prodigy showed up in the top 10 in 8 countries, primarily in Europe, but also in India and New Zealand. It performed best in Germany and on that chart for 4 days, reaching the high of number 3. Surprisingly, Prodigy also popped up on the chart in France, even though the entire season has been available on France TV since March.
Which I thought that was really weird.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they ever pull it or put it back on?
They had the right to have it on, so I'm sure they left
Yeah.
it on.
Yeah. So in addition to the series finale of Star Trek Discovery, popped up in the Nielsen top 10 of USA streaming chart at the 10th spot with 269 million minutes viewed. It's a lot. There was the fourth time. This is the fourth time that Discovery showed up on the charts of the season after appearing for 3 weeks in a row, covering the first 5 episodes.
And if you're watching the live stream, the looks on everybody's faces in both the top image and the bottom image, they are watching the topic as Trek.
They are. They are.
And they look
Intently
bored.
so.
And they look bored or surprised.
Hey,
Like
come on, guys. Come on.
Surprised on top, confused on the bottom.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
That's our audience. There we go. All right. Let's move on then to the next story. Doctor Who and Star Trek have so much in common. They have their origins in the 1960s. Multiple actors have played the leads. They have also referenced each other several times. Heck, they've even done a crossover in the pages of a comic book.
Mhm.
So it seems fitting that these two powerhouses would come together for the first ever Intergalactic Friends Day at this year's San Diego Comic-Con. Under the banner of Friendship is Universal, Star Trek and Doctor Who will operate a special gallery experience in the nearby Gaslamp Quarter of San Diego. The gallery will feature original costumes and props from across the two storied franchises, highlighting themes of friendship and shared values between the two universes. There will also be a photo opportunity for fans as well as special friendship bracelet giveaways. So
Very
you
nice.
can look forward to paying for those on
Well,
eBay later on, I'm sure.
I know that we do predictions at the end of the year and
Mhm.
review them. I'm sorry, at the beginning of the year, and then we review them at the end of the year. I believe that they are gearing up to announce a crossover between Strange New Worlds and Doctor Who.
That'd be the show to do it.
They keep talking. We heard, let's sort of say Christopher Pike. We heard Anson Mount talk about some of the big swings. They're taking bigger swings this year. I can imagine, since we got a newer doctor, right, that this will offer a little exposure and kind of heighten everything by crossing them over. It'd be something that's never been done. I think it's going to happen.
Well, there's another part to this about what they're doing together at Comic-Con, right, Chuck?
That's right. Not only that, Alex Kurtzman, showrunner and executive producer for the Star Trek franchise, and Russell T Davies, showrunner and executive producer for the Doctor Who Whoniverse, will come together for an exclusive creator-to-creator panel/conversation.
Mm-hmm.
They will speak about the art of storytelling in alternative universes and to celebrate the power of friendship. So, hop in your trusty TARDIS and set course in your starship of choice. This will be the continuation of a beautiful friendship.
Uh-huh.
So we shall see. I like where you're thinking there, Craig. I don't know if it will happen, but I see your thought process, and
You
and
can't
I
make
think it's-
predictions in July.
I said a mid-year prediction. I think it's totally feasible, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. I'd be down for that.
indeed.
So there are lots of Star Trek activities planned at Comic-Con, including the San Diego Symphony Orchestra doing a live musical accompaniment to a showing of Star Trek 2009, a booth full of creatures from across the Trek franchise, a showing of Star Trek Prodigy hosted by Kate Mulgrew, and more. But as always, Hall H is where you're bound to get the most news about what's coming up in the Trek universe. So Paramount Plus is bringing cast and creativities for, excuse me, got a frog in my throat. For four different Star Trek TV productions. They are also promising reveals and surprises you won't want to miss. Doctor Who. Will there be trailers, cast announcements, actual premiere dates revealed? We're not sure just yet, but we do know that what shows will be highlighted. For Strange New Worlds, cast members scheduled to appear are Anson Mount, Rebecca Romaine, Ethan Peck, alongside executive producers Alex Kurtzman, Akiva Goldsman, and Henry Alonso Myers. Season 3 is set for release sometime in 2025, with season 4 already ordered, which is great news.
Exactly, Eric. Exactly.
Indeed.
Well, for Lower Decks, voice cast members scheduled to attend include Jack Quaid, Tawny Newsome, Noel Wells, and Jerry O'Connell, along with the creator and executive producer Mike McMahon and executive producer Alex Kurtzman. The 5th and final season is set to arrive later this year. No air quotes on that. But we continue to hear rumors about some sort of continuation of the story. Maybe we'll find out more. The Starfleet Academy section will feature executive producers and co-showrunners Alex Kurtzman and Noga Landau. Hope I said that right. The first season is set to go into production later this summer, which means there won't be much to show. But more cast announcements are a possibility. And for the Section 31 streaming movie event, cast members Omari Hardwick, Sam Richardson, and Casey Roll are scheduled, along with executive producer Alex Kurtzman and director Olatunde Osunsami. Sorry, no Michelle Yeoh. The Emperor is currently busy.
Slashing.
We'll have a
Actually,
recap of all the announcements, panels, and more in an upcoming episode.
I imagine that one's probably ripe for a little bit of a trailer or some kind of teaser.
Yeah,
They've been filming that for a while.
Typically what they do, a lot of the presentations that are in Hall H will drop a trailer. I think every year that the Star Trek universe has had a panel, we've gotten some kind of trailer or a follow-up trailer. If they've already released one, we get something new out of it. So
I can also imagine Strange New Worlds would have us a little something too.
Yeah, it's tougher. The closer you get to something that just finished filming, the less likely you're going to have a lot of effect shots ready. So I think that
some of the early episodes, maybe. That's what I'm saying.
I think that Section 31 is probably the best bet at having something that's closer to being done.
Yep.
But even if they don't have special effects, you don't need the special effects for a scene between people.
Yeah, so they're
No,
Yeah.
don't do that. That would not be good.
there Chuck's doing the special effects right now.
As a part falls off of the NX-01.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
That can't be good. And finally, in chapter 9 of the Battle for Paramount Mountain. Now, I'm going to go
Oh,
over
boy.
some highlights here. There was literally so much that I'm going to write an article, probably a very long article, for the website over at The Topic is Trek.
I hit it.
Ding.
There.
.com, where I go into much more detail about a lot of this and other things. But let's go over the highlights, because when some progress was made on this, everyone said, "Oh, Clinton, you're all set. You can now take a break and it's all done." And it's like, oh,
Yeah,
you have
wipe
no
your
idea-
hands off. Yeah, you're
you have
done.
no idea how far from done this is, believe me. All right. So here's, I think, the basics you need to know. First of all, Sherry Redstone has agreed to sell National Amusements, which is the company that she owns, to a consortium led by Skydance Media and Redbird Capital. Now, this is not the sale of Paramount Global. This is not a slam dunk. And this is what I'm calling a save point in the game.
Okay.
Because right now, what Sherry Redstone agreed to, selling National Amusements, means that Skydance and Redbird would get the majority share of stock in Paramount. But that's not we're not at the end at this point. Paramount Global, in addition, has 45 days to go shop. And that doesn't mean they're going to take all the money and go to Rodeo Drive or something.
It's Amazon Prime days.
Yay!
Yeah.
No, what that means is they can entertain other offers, and a few parties may still be interested in this. One of them is Barry Diller, who actually used to be the president of Paramount Pictures ages ago. Sony is out. Sony said, nope, we're done. We're out of
We
it. So they're,
fold.
it's
They
not
folded.
everybody is, but there are still some people out there. Paramount does not need to disclose anything about any other potential suitors until they feel it is necessary to do so, or they're required by law to do so. So we may not hear about negotiations. That doesn't mean that they're not happening. If Paramount finds a better offer, they must pay Skydance, the Skydance Consortium, a breakup fee of $400 million. Now, breakup fees, exactly, Eric. Breakup fees are not unusual.
Yeah.
I used to work for a company that tried several times to do mergers, and a breakup fee was always included with it because you're putting in this time and effort to do this thing, and all of a sudden it just falls apart.
I
right?
think T-Mobile and Sprint, wasn't that 18 or maybe 18?
Yeah, I mean, any of those type of deals would have this type of thing attached, because you are taking all your resources and putting them into all the paperwork, all the systems integrations, all the everything that has to go into this type of a merger.
Mhm.
And so you want to get something. However, $400 million is a bit high. Now, there's speculation on why it is that high. Is it actually discouraging Paramount from actively seeking out other? So there that could be a sticking point later on. So put a pin in that one. As far as day-to-day operations go, the 3-person office of the CEO is still in charge at Paramount. And the cost-cutting measures they were working on are still going along. And Skydance says, keep going with whatever you're doing for right now. And that includes Paramount actively negotiating to try to sell BET. And those, I think those negotiations are fairly far along. So look for some news on that shortly. There are a few provisions of interest with the agreement with Skydance. First of all, unless it gets written consent of Skydance, Paramount is not allowed to enter any joint venture or content licensing involving Paramount Plus, or enter into any new contract with respect to the bundling of Paramount Plus with any of the top 7 third-party streaming services.
Wow.
So,
Hmm.
all that talk about maybe they're going to team up with Peacock, or maybe they'll team up with Max or something. Not unless Skydance says, sure, you know, during this period, even though it's that 45-day period, this is like one of these things until Paramount says we got a better offer and here's your $400 million. This is kind of what the state we're in. Skydance, and also not Paramount, they're not allowed to greenlight the production, acquisition, or financing of any property or commit to produce, acquire, or finance any property without the other company's okay. What that means is if all of a sudden, for some reason, the Harry Potter franchise came up and was able to be purchased for $5, unless they
$5.
both agreed to it, it wouldn't be happening.
Right. Or what?
Right?
Or
Sure
does that
thing,
mean that they
friend.
can't announce?
I love.
Oops.
Why is Charlie? What?
Charlie,
Does that?
Charlie is green lighting that. He goes, sure thing, friend.
Yeah. Well, what about? I guess any. Like if they said, "Oh, we're doing a revival of Star Trek Enterprise," they
Well,
can't
now
announce that.
this is like that's an existing property that
Oh, existing. I'm sorry.
Paramount owns,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
So they've essentially they've said at this point they're hands off. So yeah, work is proceeding on the prequel Star Trek movie and the writing of the potential fourth Kelvinverse movie. All that stuff is going on, so that stuff can proceed. It would be new things. There's also the potential of a class action lawsuit over the amount stockholders will be paid for any Paramount stock they wish to cash in. So the problem here is that shareholders were offered $15, which was a premium. Well, Class A is offered $23 a share, or if they don't want to do that, they're given like roughly 1.5 shares of Class B stock. Class B stock is being offered $15 a share. However, if a lot of people decide to cash in, that pool has a set amount, and all of a sudden the dollar amount starts to shrink per share on that. So expect a little bit of pushback in the form of, there are already law firms out there saying, if you own Paramount stock, please contact us immediately,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
expect that to happen. And I don't want to get too much further along in all the other complications, but as you can see, we're not at that finish line yet.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be for quite a while. I mean, we have 45 days until we're even sure that this deal is going to proceed from here. There are regulatory issues involved. We need more clarification, of course, on what Skydance's plans are for Star Trek, for Paramount Plus. We've got some inklings about that stuff, which I'll put in the article. But
I was more worried about the Mission Impossible franchise, but
well, yes, certainly Top Gun. I know was on top of people's lists.
Top Gun 12, and yeah.
But that is the current state of things with this deal. So if anybody says, "Oh, did you hear that? It's all over?" No, it's not over. It's far from over.
Speaking of over, are we over with Subspace Chatter?
Well, I've got a one quick story of Vulcan, Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
Just want to have something from them. So if you're planning on driving through Vulcan, you might want to drop out of warp and proceed at impulse power. That's because Vulcan's town council has unanimously agreed to lower the residential speed limit in town from 50 kilometers per hour to 40 kilometers per hour. And if you're using miles per hour, just try to remember that the new speed converts as follows. You can no longer go over 31.068 miles an hour. You now can only go 24.855 miles per hour. You got that?
What is that in warp?
The blink of an eye. I was watching a video
Half
the
a
other
warp.
day that you've probably seen the videos where they have the relative size of different spaceships,
Yes.
Yes.
right?
So
So
like big posters and stuff.
right. So this one, well, no, this is a video where it's like they take all different franchises and here's this, here's the size. Let's start off really, really small. Like I think one of them actually started off with the spaceship from is either Inner Space or Fantastic Voyage. So it was
Right.
like, the size of
Gosh.
a
Microscopic.
pinhead.
Tiny. Yeah.
And then went up to things like, I think the one that got the largest included the Dyson sphere
Yep.
from Star Trek, which, encompasses a sun and planets. So this one, after they did a bit of that, then they did all these other charts of showing the speeds of the different
right.
ships and the speeds of different ships in different franchises. The fastest,
The Millennium Falcon.
fastest is Planet Express. Is the
Really?
fastest. Yeah. The and at one point they
Serenity.
show like you've got the distance of the entire solar system, and they show things shooting from one end to the other. And Planet Express it's not even off the screen, but you watch like Voyager go from one end of the solar system to the other in warp,
No, the
and it's
galaxy.
like and it's done. It really
That would have been convenient.
But does the TARDIS actually travel?
well. The thing is that when you got things like the TARDIS or the Heart of Gold,
Yeah.
like they don't travel kind of the same way. They're like
Right.
popping in and out of dimensions and
Yes.
stuff. So I don't know I can't remember if they gave a speed to the TARDIS or the Heart of Gold.
A bit like trying to figure out the mileage on your electric vehicle.
Well, it's trying to find the mileage on a rock. It's like, I don't understand how that works. How's that happening? But I should find that up. The thing is, it's a lot of, they do many, 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 many iterations of things. And it's near the end where they do this thing where they show this long distance and you just see how fast things zip from these insanely long distances when you're talking about the speeds of some of these sci-fi vehicles, how fast they go. It's absolutely crazy. So
you can't fly any of those in Vulcan, Alberta, Canada.
no, absolutely not. So that is all the stories we're going to cover on Subspace Chatter, but we have links to it, an additional 118 stories.
Hey, by the way, I searched for how fast is the Heart of Gold without putting spaceship or anything. Heart of Gold from Neil Young is about 171 BPM.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably what you're going to get. And a minor for a Heart of Gold, and boy, it just went that way fast.
171 beats per minute.
I'm surprised if it was that fast. That feels a little too fast for a Neil Young song.
That's what I thought, but okay.
Yeah. AI answer that one for you?
No, I just Google. Just stupid
Well,
Google.
Google puts AI answers at the top now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
All right, but with that said, it is time to close up Subspace Chatter, and because I always feel guilty when it's like Mirror Charlie because he's so nice, but Charlie, we gotta say goodbye.
He's gonna leave you a present or something.
Thanks for having me along. It was fun. But now my Phasian step-parents are calling, so I gotta go! 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 Go!
Go, get.
Oh, we miss you, Charlie. We miss you.
Wow, he just goes on for like 10 beats, doesn't he?
Yeah. Charlie's BPM is about 171 also. Pretty amazing. What a coincidence.
All right, so now we're going to head out on our main mission part 2 with an appropriate sound effect. And Craig, do you want to give us some of the stats so forth on this
Sure.
one?
Oh, sorry, I got to scroll down. I wasn't looking at this. All right, here we go. So, Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episode 4, Temporal Mechanics 101.
It's
Written by-
pronounced 101.
101. Written by Keith Sweet II, directed by Ben Hibben. And although separated by decades, the Infinity and the Voyager crews band together to save Gwen's life, a mysterious messenger reaches out to Gwen.
Okay. So, initial thoughts on this episode. We move on from last episode, as we always do in Prodigy. The end of one episode leads right into the beginning of the next one.
Yep.
I have an issue, but I'm not going to start with that. Or we'll get to it when we get to it.
And you got lots of issues, which you talking about?
I have an issue with this episode.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Well,
In general, I enjoyed it very much. Yeah, tied together well. Again, they made a callback to an episode where Worf did something about jumping around between dimensions.
Yeah.
That's the one I don't remember.
Yeah, I didn't look it up, but I feel that's got to be an episode in there that, I'm just.
They wouldn't have put it in if it wasn't. And
Right.
we do see an appearance from Dr. Aaron again.
Yeah. That was actually kind of funny because she showed up and I was like, oh, she's going to tell us about temporal mechanics.
Well,
'Cause-
this should
'cause
be
you know what?
interesting.
Well, she told the writers about temporal mechanics, I'm sure.
Probably. She probably did the same presentation for them.
I like the animation that she was giving.
The dominoes.
Well, the whole thing, because it was very speaking of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it reminded me of that a little bit. And
Mhm.
and they had the old school Enterprise, you know,
And he
there's-
skips from chapter 1 to chapter 5.
Yeah.
No problem there.
no,
Hopefully that was just during a review of information you'd already covered once or twice.
sure, yeah.
We'll go with that.
But I did like
Well-
their animation. It was kind of fun to somebody that we've met
Mhm.
in person and interviewed here on the show.
Mhm.
There she is, giving the chat about temporal mechanics.
Yeah. When are we going to be tunes on this show? Get
I
the
know,
Hagmans
right?
on the line, will you?
They had podcasts in that era.
So
Um,
come on.
As noted, we did get a little bit of a peek at the future astronomer / diviner. I can't remember his name offhand. I should have written it down. Because he's pursuing them and he takes his helmet off and you go, oh, it's him. And he's not too happy about this. And then we see him again at the very end when he's standing next to the hole. I want to know who left the hole open because it was closed when we had our last Valnarwach or whatever the battle was, because it was closed. And then
Yeah.
we get to the point where, and this is where I have an issue. How did the ship get in the hole? They were stuck
Yeah.
out in the desert, and then suddenly they add some pods to it, which look surprisingly like the Matrix. How they're
Yeah.
putting on these sparky pods, and the little scorpion bots, whatever you're going to call them, start like cutting away at the hull. Feels a lot like the
Oh.
squeeze.
Oh, I totally got that vibe because they went.
Yeah.
They just attached themselves and started
Yeah.
boring holes.
Yeah. I don't think that was something that they didn't know consciously that they were doing. It was interesting though that, if you have glass coming at you or transparent aluminum or whatever it was that they were breaking through,
Mhm.
even if it was stopped, I don't think I would still just sit there and
Right.
have it.
Like now's the time to move aside.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if the time is going to go forward or backward or fast or slow. Or like, I think I'll get out of here while the getting's good.
Right.
Not just watch it and go, whoa, man, look at the shards.
Shards.
It also had kind of a, for a second there, a feeling of the time machine, the George Pell version of the time machine. where you're sitting in
Yes.
the time machine and
Yeah.
watching time go by.
Yeah. That was. Yeah. Exactly.
So that was fun. But yeah, I'm guessing what they were doing, because the time machine was that they were knowing the time and the place. So they were jumping through time. So
But
they
They
just,
had to get the ship down into the place. It
Well,
was
the
out,
thing is-
crashed in the desert. It can't fly. We've established that he can't make it fly. How'd it get in the hole?
well, what I'm saying is that they knew that they wanted to go to this point in time and this point on the planet. So that was what they were programming in, is not just, you know, oh, so you're saying how they got in there to begin with.
Right. In
Okay.
the future, 52
Well, it
years
looked
in the
like
future.
they were bringing in piece by piece. Weren't they lowering things down through the whole, like with?
Oh, so it was
people?
part of the montage, I guess.
Yeah, I had the
Yeah.
impression that that's what they were doing to get it down in there.
Yes, I believe
Could be
you're
wrong.
right.
You watch
Yeah.
that part.
I mean,
Okay,
they
I'll
do
buy
some-
that.
Oh, because Chuck went from chapter 1 to chapter 5.
That's
Little
right.
clever
This
editing.
episode-
That might have been when I got up to get a drink.
Yeah. Right.
Well, side note, that reminds me of when I saw Batman in the theater, the Tim Burton one,
Yeah.
the first one with Michael Keaton.
The good one.
And so I leave because I had to make use of the facilities. I come back in, and Vicky Vale is in the Batcave.
Yep.
And because I didn't see the scene, I assumed that there was a scene that explains how that all happens and, you know, why she's there. Come to find out, no, Alfred just leads her in there. But anyway,
Yeah. Come on down. I think you belong here.
it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. It's
Feels
all fine.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Infinity does get to where Gwen is, but Gwen is pretty much the way we left her.
She seemed a little bit better in the future than she was the other way around. I mean, she was sitting up in the future where she couldn't barely even hold herself up at all, or couldn't hold
Actually,
her
I
head.
was trying to figure out why didn't she just fall through the floor?
That's what I was going to say too. She can't
Yeah.
seem to solid
People-
matter can pass
yeah.
right through her, but she can't pass through
Yeah.
solid matter.
Yeah, people were the diviner guy. He was reaching through her, and I was like, "Well, isn't this like a cavern? It should probably fall through the floor."
Well, I
It's
guess
a special place that has
one argument you could make is that the floor is more of a constant, whereas somebody trying to touch the person
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
is very fluid, just like when she couldn't hold on to the heirlooms as she's starting to climb and because they're not, the wall is there all the time, but the heirloom being stuck there is just a passing thing.
I'm just going with it's made out of plutonium.
Yeah. But that's the best explanation I've got. for it.
Carbamite.
A constant versus a
Yeah.
variable,
The floor is made out of carbamite.
or lava, one or the other one.
Lava.
You mean corbamite?
That's what I was trying to say.
You got your Star Wars and your Star Trek a little mixed up there.
Not carbonite. I didn't say carbonite. It's a
You said
corbamite.
carbamite.
Whatever. Well, it could have been made out of that too. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Fragmented
crossover.
little made up material.
It's another crossover.
But we also were getting this message about Save Gwen showing up on
Yes.
their panel.
And we're not sure who this mysterious benefactor is, but they've sent a message, sent coordinates, fixed the ship.
Talk to the people outside of the anomaly.
Yep.
You know, it's like, okay, got a lot going on here. Could you just like be a little bit less cryptic about what you're doing, since clearly you're talking to everybody and you now you have access to a screen where you can just type anything you want. That's all, you know, go ahead and tell us how to do whatever it is we want to do, because you clearly know something about this, and just save Gwen.
It's the 10C. No, it's
No.
the
Please, no.
I think I heard the quote, save the cheerleader, save the world.
Oh, I see. Well, okay. Zachary Quinto suddenly shows up in that one.
Yeah.
Free Willy, something.
A slight crossover. That's a weird crossover.
I did think it was interesting that when they do show up and are going towards Gwen, they see, for all intents and purposes to them, the diviner, and they're like, whoa.
Well,
And-
I got to back up a little bit in the future where they get down in the hole and you hear this fluttering noise, and Dell grabs Zero like a flashlight. And she
Yeah.
says, "Oh, not this again."
Yeah.
Have we had Zero used as a flashlight before?
Yeah, I think
missed
sometime
that.
in season one
Well,
we did.
Even if we didn't see it, just thinking that he has done this before, it was kind of funny. Yeah.
Okay, so they get the time travel thing actually works. They get and they Yeah. Oh, the diviner. Oh, it's okay. He's on our side.
Yeah, but they still are not comfortable, so he has to back away.
Yeah, that was an interesting gesture.
And they've then got to get her out of there because she's not well, and they've got to, do something to try to fix this. And they know they're the ones that screwed up and made all this happen, so there's no guilt at all involved with that.
Before they go to retrieve her and they're reporting back to Voyager, they say she's not well, and the doctor says, "I need to examine her. I'm a doctor, not a
Oh, he threw a lot of those.
exorcist."
Yeah, he
a
threw a lot of those out there, didn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's not overuse that one.
But he's able to fashion together essentially something like his emitter.
He used a phase discriminator to stabilize her temporal signature or something of that. Like, wow.
We know an awful lot about
Weave it all together.
stabilizing, these temporal anomalies, the anomalies. The Infinity Ship had something to protect it. Voyager
Yeah.
A had something to protect it. And this is before the temporal wars even.
Right. And I also found it interesting when Zero was examining her. He said her quantum signature is out of phase. Like, how did we study this? I mean, how many people are out of phase that you can tell? And why would you go around studying people's quantum signatures that are in phase to know
Well-
as a control? It just seemed like an odd thing to have data on.
Well, by this point, Cisco would have been in that state when he was out of phase. on
Cisco's
Deep Space-
totally out of phase. He's in the Celestial Temple.
No. When he was out of phase in the episode where Jake eventually was, Jake's an old man recounting the story.
Right. Okay.
So Cisco is out of phase. And so Bashir would have lots of data from that he would be able to share. That'll be in the records by this point.
I'm going to start signing all my checks with quantum signatures.
Yeah,
I
that'll
see
go
your
over
quantum
well.
signatures, and I raise you a tachyon or two.
It could be my signature. It might not be my signature. It's quantum. It's in all states at once.
Well, we did get a mention of Schrodinger's cat in here as well.
We did. Proverbial Schrodinger's cat. Or
Proverbial.
stuck in Schrodinger's cat box. Schrodinger's cat's litter box.
Right.
Is the
I
cat
don't know. I don't know.
clean or dirty? Anyway, let's not go there.
There's litter in there, but you got to dig for it. So it might be there. It might not be. Wow. We've taken this in a weird direction.
Yeah, very weird. Speaking
know.
of weird, you get vibes of Enterprise at the end
Kyle
of this
says
episode.
quantum signatures impossible to authenticate.
Yeah.
That's why you need a quantum computer to do that.
Well, let me
That's
talk
right.
about the blockchain and how we can. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, don't go there.
But we have Murph speaking to what
Mm-hmm.
Yes, straight out of
like
Enterprise.
future guy,
Archer.
Yeah.
She's talking to Archer.
Yeah.
Shh. Spoiler.
Hey,
alert.
what? Well, wasn't Archer revealed to supposed to be the future guy?
Well,
That
no.
was
Scott
supposition until
Bakula said
another
that
season.
he said it was Archer. But
Scott Bakula? No, I thought
yeah.
one of the writers actually said something about
was
it.
it? I thought Scott Bakula had said that.
We won't know until season 5 comes out.
Yeah. Ooh, that one hurts. But so I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's future guy because
Sure look
That-
like him.
that's like too many things to throw in at once. And if we're gonna go completely temporal war at this point, then yeah, that's just very messy. Very, and do we really want to go to that? I mean, all the series now seem to mention those wars, but no one is diving in to actually
Right.
do that
Yeah.
as a story.
Actually, I have another slight theory. I wish I had put it in predictions, but well, some of it wasn't revealed until now. They've mentioned Enterprise and some of the things from that in a lot of the series and
Mhm.
episodes within the last year. I have a feeling that they're gonna Paramount is gonna do some kind of not revival per se, maybe, but an event or something, movie or something.
And then call it the real last episode and just burn all the copies of the other one.
Yeah, and the twist is Jonathan Frakes actually directs it
Yeah.
instead of actually being in it. Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling they're trying to lay that groundwork because not just, I mean, they involve character not or actors and stuff and other real life events around Star Trek recently, and I'm like, I think they're getting ready to lay a little groundwork there.
Well, we will see. But I still don't think it's Future Guy. It just, we've already got time travel going. We don't need to complicate time travel. It's complicated enough as it is.
Yeah,
She said you could slingshot around the sun.
I know.
right.
Or
Yeah.
or again, the bad side of a Q. That was another way to do it.
No,
I like that. You really, really don't want to do this, but if you have to,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
And here's your best bet.
That's right.
All right. So we are going to rate this one on a scale of 1 to 10. Quantum signatures.
okay.
There can only be one. No, okay.
All right. So
Not
I
in the quantum
believe
universe.
you start us off, Craig.
Let's see. I think this is a good follow up to the previous episode. I'm giving this one an 8. Even though it did leave us with the future guy, and there was a few questions that we talked about. I also like seeing Aaron explaining the temporal mechanics. I liked how she was the narrator for the she was the audible narrator for the book. So yeah, so I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Okay. I'm going to rate it a bit lower. I'm going to go down to
Oh,
a 7 for this one because I think they needed to get from point A to point B, and some things kind of just were put together to get you from point A to point B to
yeah.
this. It seemed like a bridge episode, and I feel like, okay, we had good parts in it, but overall, I think you could have folded part of it into the previous and part of it into the next episode. I don't know about the next episode, but I don't think there was enough in there. You rescue Gwyn, and I think that's the only part that really is essential to this being its own episode. And I just feel like that could have maybe been the beginning of the next episode or something.
Well, if they saved up Chakotay and everything, it'd be a short season.
Yeah, but Chakotay was gone in the last one. He flew the coop with there's a pun there with Patrick. Sorry,
It's pretty good.
The bird guy's like,
rolling his eyes.
again.
No birds could do that, but he's doing it. All right. So what about you, Chuck?
I'm home to roost.
Okay. So,
This
good night.
episode laid an egg.
Wow.
We're just gonna keep going. Now, I'm gonna split the difference. I'm gonna go 7.5. I thought it was good, but Clinton's right. It didn't have enough substance of its own. I was kind of going, oh, good thing it's only 21 minutes long, because there was maybe 10 minutes or less of valid content in there. But I did like some of the humorous moments.
Yeah.
As always.
It wasn't terrible. I think it was
Nope.
a serviceable episode. I just kind of wish they had split it up and put parts other places. But
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. That said, it is time to refill the dead lithium chamber, or at least try to, and warp on out of here if we can. I think now that the burn is over, and although the burn hasn't happened yet now,
No,
in
yeah. It's in our future.
oh goodness, it's just
We have to go back through the wormhole.
I think you need to review Temporal Mechanics 101 again.
I think so. I think so. Can I skip from 1 to 5 like Dal though?
I don't know.
Okay.
You can
I
get the
think we need to
Audible
get a-
version.
The 101 book is like the remedial one. You got to step up to 201 or 320 or you know, get going with some of these senior level books.
Yeah,
Don't
because
look for the 404 one because
It's
it's
missing.
missing.
right.
All right. That said, you can find me, Clinton, at Comedy Forecast, all one word with the number 4.com. Put out a podcast, usually shortish episodes, I guess, compared to like the topic
This
is
one.
Trek. It is a short episode, and they're humorous to me anyway, and hopefully to you too.
Yeah.
Who speaks for you guys?
I will.
Your turn.
Yeah. So you can catch Chuck and I on the Technorama podcast. Just search for Technorama podcast on Google or in your favorite podcatcher, and you'll find us. Also, I'm gonna throw a little
Dog days.
prop out there. Thanks for spoiling it.
You were
Well-
stammering. I had to help.
Well, tell us
All right.
about what that's all about.
So the Dog Days of Podcasting is intended to kind of rekindle the community that was around early podcasting. So I encourage podcasters to do a podcast. It can be as little as 5 minutes, can be as much as you want for every day for the month of August. And I know I often joke about this, but it went from doing the podcast was a challenge to now listening to them all when we have everybody doing them because we get so many of them. So it's a lot of fun. You can find it on Facebook, the Dog Days of Podcasting, and join the group and see everybody kind of talking about all everybody's episodes. So starts August 1st, and I'm looking forward to it.
See? Right there. Crackpot talk.
No, stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
You going to participate, Clinton, or can you?
I'm gathering up information to see if I've got enough material to do. I wanted to do more odd news stories. I've got a lot of odd news stories.
There's plenty of those. Just
Well,
ramping it around.
I want it to be unique enough. I mean, there's
Yeah.
only so many stories about the escaped kangaroo / cheetah / elephant / that you want to.
Wait, I want to see
Dude.
that.
But there's plenty of other things that I've come across. So I think I'll be able to do something, if not every day, most days.
All right. Sounds
All
good.
right. That said, time to hit the theme, boys. If you like the show, please be sure to tell a friend about it and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on X at The Topic is Trek, visit our Facebook page, or call us at 816-TREKKER. That's 816-873-5537. Until next time, on behalf of Chuck, Craig, and myself, I'm Clinton, thanking you for listening. And as we always say here on The Topic is Trek, don't put on the red shirt.
The heirloom.
Shirt.
Oh, the heirloom shirt?
The red heirloom shirt.
Red boots.
Red rum.
We'll get it right one of these days. Done.
All righty.
Look there. Kyle jumped in at the last minute.
Yes, he's been there a while.
Okay. Well, thank you all for watching. We should be back in a couple of weeks. Schedules during the summer are always crazy. So
As are we.
well, yeah, that's a constant. That's not just a summertime thing. And we'll be discussing more of Prodigy. And I think by the time we roll around with the next one, probably, I'm assuming a lot of people will have seen most of Prodigy. I don't know whether there are still people out there who are doing it one episode a week, which is not a bad way to do it.
I had to I had to, go back and watch the 2 episodes we were talking about tonight because I've gone past that. I went, wait, what happened in 3 and 4? So I wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Not a big deal to rewatch them. They're kind of short.
All right. Well, we'll say goodbye for now, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye for
All right.
now.
Bye for now.
Good show, guys, but there are audio drops that I don't hear in the episode in the feed. Must be a StreamYard thing. Okay.
Huh.
Bye.
All right.